Hello everybody, welcome back to the farm. My name's Dave, and beside me you can see my cheap Chinese made mini excavator. It's a UHI UME 12, and the both of us have been battling for about the last hour trying to move a new acquisition that has just appeared on the farm, and I'll show you what it is. I've dragged back a 1960s Australian public telephone box, and of course I unloaded it here in the wrong position, and I'm trying to relocate it and move it to the right position. So once again, I am the victim of going on Marketplace on a Saturday night and looking at all sorts of rubbish, probably that I don't need, but I've always wanted an Australian public telephone box, and this came up on Marketplace. It was actually being sold by a company that do movie props for Australian movies and cinema, and this was in their warehouse and they were selling it off. They were clearing the warehouse out. And I thought, well, I've always wanted a phone box, and yeah, I bought one. Now, probably the deal breaker for me was that when I bought this phone box, it actually included the telephone. And this is pretty rare. You don't see a lot of phone boxes that actually still have the telephone in them. This is a model from the 1960s, early 1960s, that was developed over a few years. This one you'll see has actually a blanking thing in the top here. Originally on the earlier models, this was a microphone which you would talk into, and there was just a handset on here. Later on in this model, they blanked that off with a bit of timber, and they had a regular handpiece here on the side. The dial thing sort of still works, sort of thing. I think this can be cleaned up and fixed up and painted okay. This is a decimal phone, which means that they had this same type of phone in the early 60s when they were running on pennies, but this one, you can see up the top here, it says that it works on 10-cent coins, that you would rest here, and then when a phone answers on the other end, you would roll your coin into the machine. So being in cents, this would be sometime post 1966. This whole phone was originally a dark green colour. You can sort of see some of the colour there. All the coins used to fall down here and fill up this thing down the bottom here, and there was a key underneath here where somebody from the postal service would come out, unlock that, and take all the 10-cent coins out of them. Apparently what I've read is these phones weren't very good at stopping vandals, and quite often these phones were broken into to get the coins out of. This particular telephone box is a style that was around in the 1950s and 1960s, and this is the inside of the box, and it's still got the details here of where the box was located, and I don't know if you can read it there. It says Elliott Street near Darling Street, and that is in Balmain, which is an inner city suburb of Sydney, and it's got the details in here on how to make the calls, which is still good. That's actually survived many years, and that's still pretty much intact. Now, with a lot of projects like this, there is the good and then there is the bad. And the bad is really the amount of rot that's in this phone box down on the lower part of it. You can see nearly all of the bottom of the phone box has been eaten away or weathered away over the years, and it's in a pretty bad state of repair, as you can see there. Now, they're not impossible to fix. Usually what you do is you pick a point down here where the rot comes up to, and you cut them off here and across here, and make a new base for it, and then yeah, you restore all the bottom part of it and then glue them back together. It is a long-term project. When I'll get to it, I don't quite know, but luckily you can see there's most of the glass is actually in this phone box. Quite often it's smashed or missing when you get them. The original, I think it's a sticker on the inside of that glass, is still there. That looks okay, so I'll just leave that as it is. Quite a thick glass, actually. It's probably like 4mm, maybe 5mm glass. There's one missing out of down here, you can see, and a couple of the back, but I've got most of them. Some of them fell out in the trailer when I was bringing the telephone box back, and I think probably I'll have to get somebody to replicate a couple of pieces of this glass, maybe 2 or 3 pieces, and I should be right. I'll just make sure that I photograph and measure all of these decals that are on here. This bill posters one, for example, that when it's restored, I'll try and put that back in the same position. Up the top there, you can see there's something like S2 11M2, I think is like a stencil number, so I'll take a photograph of that and try and reproduce that as well. Now, this telephone box, being from the 1960s, was operated by the Postmaster General, or the PMG here in Australia, and their corporate colours were red. So the original colour of this telephone box would have been red. You can still see some of the old paint up here. Now, the PMG operated these phone boxes up until about 1975, when the corporation changed and became Telecom, and their corporate colour became orange. So all of the telephone boxes were all painted this orange colour, and not terribly carefully either. You can see here, for example, that someone has painted orange over the door handle. The door closing mechanism is still attached to this one. Often there's a lot of phone boxes where this has been taken out. I think they were made of brass actually, so yeah, that's probably a good thing that is in there. There's still a draw cord to turn the light on and off, which you could do in the middle of the night if you turned up to the phone box. When the phone box was red, the inside was green. You can see on this rail here that there's that green colour on the inside of it. And when they changed the colours across to the Telecom colours and it all became orange, all of this was repainted inside. You can see behind where the original phone was that it's still that green colour here with this sponge effect on it, and they changed it to this orange and put the same sort of sponge effect on it. Yeah, it's still okay in here. I mean, it's still got a light and a speaker and things in here. Yeah, it's going to need a lot of work, but no, it'll get done. Now, you may have noticed up the top there that it doesn't have the roof on it at the minute. I actually took it off when we were trying to unload it because it was so heavy. It took 4 of us to actually just tilt the box over. I would estimate probably the weight of this would be probably like 350 kilos, something like that, and that's certainly why this mini excavator won't lift it. I mean, that's struggling to lift about 250 kilos, so yeah, couldn't quite get this off the ground. Now, yeah, so that roof, I took it off and it's actually over here, and I'm going to have to store this somewhere. I don't really want to go near this particularly. It is very heavy, and I'm sure it's probably made out of about 99% asbestos, so I don't want to get really too close to it. Right, I've cleared a little bit of an area here, so I think what I'll try and do is push the pallet in here and have the phone box in here somewhere. That means I can still get my rotary tiller out. If I want to use that, I can still get it out, and I've still got room here in front to park the mini truck. And now I'm thinking about it, this is probably the ideal spot in here, because if I want to work on it, I have this room in here, I can just lay it down on some trestles or something and sort of work away on it, and it doesn't matter if I make a mess and so forth, and then I can just push it back over here and cover it up, and it should be pretty right. So I think this is actually the better place for it. Now, the reason I've got my mini excavator out is I was trying to lift this with these pallet forks. I was trying to get them underneath the pallet and try and lift this telephone box up in the air, but I could only just do it. I could lift it about 1 inch off the ground, but the actual mini excavator was tilting a long way forward, so I didn't quite have enough sort of weight to move it. So I was a bit nervous about sort of dragging it across, because although I unloaded it here in this area, I actually wanted to put it over here in the shed over there, and that's some distance to try and carry it, and I don't think I can do it with the mini excavator that I've got. So what I'm going to do is, obviously I'm going to leave it on this timber pallet here. I'm going to move my little mini truck out of the way, drive it out here, and then try and just get behind this with the excavator here and just try and push this, and it'll live its life until I get to it under that carport somewhere. I think the first thing I'll do is try and spin it around a little bit if I can. And that way I can have my door at the front. Know why something that is so rotten, so heavy. What is going on with that? Bit of dig in my roof. Bugger. Well, finally, after a bit of pushing and a bit of heaving, I've managed to get it into this area here, which I'm just going to leave it now. It's out of the weather, it's out of the rain for the most part, so it can sit here for probably many months until I put it on the priority list of things to do around the farm here. I will get to it one day, and hopefully I'll show that as well in a couple of videos of doing a restoration on this Australian phone box. Anyway, that is it for today's video. Thank you everybody for watching. Only casualty of the day was I put a ding in my newly painted mini excavator roof, which I'm now going to have to fix. Anyway, that's life on the farm, isn't it? Thank you for watching everybody. Catch you later.